You know, at one point they said Peter Frampton was in the movie, and I did not recognize him. But okay, that makes sense. I also didn't know Peter Frampton was in a band named Humble Pie either. But that just
Well,
shows
Peter
my
Frampton
age.
has a probably a better solo career.
Correct. Yes, I know of Peter Frampton. I just didn't know he was in Humble Pie. You know, Eric Clapton was in Cream.
I finally
Watched.
I finally
Watched. I
finally
watched. I
finally
watched.
I finally
Watched.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of I Finally Watched. This is David.
And this is Alon, and I finally watched Almost Famous. I gotta tell you, this has been like in the back of my cinephile mind for a long time. It was never a movie that I thought like, let me go way out of my way to watch it. And I was kind of hoping that like maybe like I don't have any time in my day anymore. But it's like if I did, or back when I used to, if it just like appeared as a recommended Netflix thing, I'd be like, you know what, I'll sit down and watch it now. Or like, just showed up in like a 3 hour flight and it was on the airplane, I'll watch it then.
Right.
But I was so surprised how many references were in this movie that I have like now gone back in my mind and realized, oh, that's a reference to Almost Famous. That's a reference to Almost Famous. Like the I'm a golden god. I must have seen that gif 1,000 times. And now I'm like, oh, fuck, that's in Almost Famous. And apart from memes, whatever, but apart from that, this movie was incredibly good. I'm like mad at myself that I did not push myself to watch it sooner. I guess then we couldn't do the pod, but it would it's like the equivalent of watching Annie Hall, in the sense of you don't realize how many references, like modern references, you're missing until you've seen the original. And for me, this was like filling in the gap for a lot of movies.
Have you seen any other Cameron Crowe movies?
I don't know. Probably have to name a
So
few.
he wrote Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yes, I did see that one.
Okay, but then his first directorial, his debut, some would call it, was Say Anything. Then he did Singles.
I
Jerry
thought
Maguire.
Say Anything wasn't John Hughes.
I mean, John Hughes is probably very involved in it. It's all that what those Brat Pack people. I mean, he wrote and directed it, so
No. It was just a dumb question, I guess. But no, I've seen Say Anything.
So
So the answer to your question is yes, I have.
his career is interesting. So like, Say Anything, Singles, obviously both are I think pretty well regarded. Jerry Maguire was a huge hit for him.
Obviously seen Jerry Maguire.
Then he does Almost Famous, Vanilla Sky in 2001,
That's
Elizabeth
another
Town.
one. That's another one in my want to do list.
I think that one's a weird one. I remember. Then Elizabeth Town, which is a favorite of my friend Zach. And then he doesn't do anything for 6 years until 2011. He does We Bought a Zoo, which is actually pretty highly rated. And then he does the last movie he directed was Aloha, which was 11 years
Oh,
11
Emma
years
Stone
ago.
pretending to be Hawaiian native. Yeah.
I don't think she was pretending. I think she just had the name. I started watching that the other day, like, and by the other day I mean like probably like 4 years ago.
Uh huh.
And I watched
Recent.
like 30, 45 minutes of it, and I was like, "Oh, this is pretty good." Like, I'm enjoying it. It was like enjoyable. And so it does kind of like, oh, is that movie actually good? Or like, are the ratings a lot, a referendum on that
Well, let me
casting?
ask you, if the movie was that good, would you have stopped after 30, 40 minutes?
I still haven't finished Seven Samurai from 4 years ago. So what the fuck do you think, man?
The Curacao film?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I have it in Criterion, and it's still like wrapped in the plastic.
No,
So
I mean I really enjoyed it too. There's so many movies that I've really enjoyed, and it's like it's an ongoing issue I have. I'm getting better at it, but there's so many. Like I started Hitman the other day, the Linklater film, when I was on my trip, and I didn't finish it, That's 3 weeks ago. So
Yeah.
to answer your question, yes, I will really enjoy a movie and not finish it,
Okay.
and then it's like I'm gonna have to just start it over at this point, right? And
Well, for
eventually we'll do
Aloha,
Seven Samurai, you know?
I mean, we will for sure. For Aloha, I not only the Emma Stone controversy, she got out of that pretty good though too. Like her career did not,
I think Cameron Crowe took the brunt of the of
probably
that.
did
He
not
hasn't
affect Emma Stone, but in situations like that, it would sometimes trickle to affecting the actor's career.
Yeah, I don't know why, what Allison Wynn, that just NG, like, why that would be a problem. So, back to this movie, Almost Famous. So, this is sort of a autobiographical, that's the full word, story from Cameron Crowe. So, he is the main character.
He's the enemy.
He is William, yes. And it's funny reading, like, so Stillwater, which was a real band, but not what this band was, is kind of based on the Allman Brothers, a lot of that, and then some of the stories come from the Who, and then the Eagles, and this and that. So it's like an
It felt
amalgamation.
very like Clearance Clearwater and Led Zeppelin, or not Led Zeppelin, but like
Credence Clearwater. Yes,
I said Credence.
you said Clearance. I think maybe
I
not.
don't
I don't
think
know.
so. No. And then Leonard Skinner, just kind of the type of
You're
music
just
that
thinking
they
like the long hair.
sang. Well, also the type of music, like that's Southern rock. But Stillwater is a fake band. They were just inspired by a bunch of different bands.
Yes, but then there was a band from the '70s named Stillwater, but this band is not made off of that band, and they did have to get permission from that band to name the band Stillwater. You know what's
Yes.
interesting about this movie? And not just first of all, Patrick Fugit, I believe is probably how you pronounce that.
It's fuck it.
Well, it'd be Fugit, first of all. I don't know how the G would go to a C. I've actually seen him in something else. He
Who
does
does he
have like
play?
he's William.
Oh, okay. He's William.
So he was in the movie Saved, which I've not seen, and then Risk Cutters, a love story. But he was actually in something that you and I have both probably seen. He was in the David Fincher movie Gone Girl. He is the cop. He's the male cop. You know, there's the female cop who's like leading the investigation into the disappearance,
Yeah.
and then hits her partner, who constantly thinks Ben Affleck is guilty and a piece of shit, and like is like doesn't believe him ever.
Oh,
He plays
okay.
that guy. This movie is like a defining movie for a lot of the people in it. Like, and I'm not saying it's necessarily even like their biggest movie or the thing you think of them first, but it's like it is in their probably IMDb top 4. It is like a seminal movie for them. Like I think of Billy Crudup, Kate
Well,
Hudson for sure.
Billy Crudup, I was trying to figure out who that was who played Russell. So I looked it up, Billy Crudup, and I was like, no way is this Billy Crudup. Because I know Billy Crudup looking like 45-ish is like the pivotal Billy Crudup, like that red carpet shot of him with kind of like the shoulder length hair
Okay.
without the mustache. And I was like, holy shit, this movie was 26 years ago. He's like almost 60 now. So this is back when he was like 30 something. He looks really good in this movie.
You wanted to fuck Billy Crudup in this movie?
Hot. No homo, but hot.
You're actually supposed to say you can't say no homo is offensive. You're supposed to say pause, which I don't understand how it is any less offensive
Is it
because you're
pause like
just
stop and pause, or is it pause like little puppy paws?
it's stop and pause.
Okay.
Like pause, like oh, like take a beat to acknowledge that I said something that normally I would say no homo to. Anyway,
Uh,
back to so I think also Jason Lee, Kate Hudson, obviously. I think it's a Philip Seymour Hoffman, like a seminal one for him too. He was
he's great.
only he only did 4 days for the movie. He's only in what 3 or 4 scenes, and most of those are phone calls, right?
Yeah.
He's so good. Really reminds me. I was on a work trip the other day. Turned on the TV, and the first thing on was Pirate Radio, the boat that rocked for
Mm-hmm.
the real heads that know.
Yeah.
And I don't know him just talking so
How could you
passionately.
not name it The Boat That Rocked?
It's one of Weinstein's not his greatest sins, but it's up there. But
It's okay.
I don't know if it makes the top 10 for most people, but it does for me, damn it. But having Philip Seymour Hoffman talk so passionately about music is just like, I don't know, it's great. Like I love it in both of these. It's just there's so many people. There's also so many fucking just random sightings of people. I mean, first of all, Frances McDormand. I don't know that she's ever looked hotter in a movie than this right here. I was like, Frances has got it in this one.
Okay.
Eric Stone Street's first acting role, where he's like, "Your mom's freaked me out." Jay Baruchel, who plays the Led Zeppelin superfan.
Yeah.
Nick Swardson is the
Who
guy that
plays
says
the
Bowie.
Bowie
Who screams
superfan.
Bowie.
Yeah.
There's just so many little people. I love Jason Lee in this. I think he is one of the more underrated parts of this movie, like the jealous lead singer.
Here's such an interesting connection to Jason Lee. This movie starts out with the Alvin and the Chipmunk Christmas song.
Oh,
And then Jason Lee just so happens to go in and play Dave in the Alvin and the Chipmunk live action movie.
so that song is in the movie because Zoe Deschanel was a big fan of it, so Cameron Crowe put it in. Which also, we could have done this as a Christmas movie, like really snuck it in there if we'd
Well,
both seen it.
also Zoe Deschanel.
Correct. I think this might be, but she's in it for such a small amount of time. This is stepping on a little bit of alternative casting. That was supposed to be Kate Hudson's part, and then she ended up getting the Penny Lane part, which became obviously like one of her iconic performances. She got nominated for it. There are so many women. I was alluding to this before we started. There are so many women who were considered for this that it almost doesn't seem real. But I'm gonna go through
The
every
Penny
single
Lane
one of-
part.
Yeah. So I love the opening credits on the notepad. Apparently, Cameron Crowe wanted to name the movie Untitled, which is one of the things that William is writing, but the studio was like, absolutely fucking not. You're not naming it that.
Can't do that.
Yeah, unfortunate. And then a sneaky character arc in this movie is Frances McDormand, who is such an overbearing mom that it drives her daughter away, and then like fast forward to a few years later, and she's like let the reins go a lot.
Yes, but we'll talk about it. But I don't think she let it go as much as it alludes to.
She let her 15-year-old son go on the road with a rock band. He got sexually assaulted on that trip. So,
well, also if one of them looks like Anna Paquin, I'm all in.
Also Anna Paquin, but I don't think this is like a defining role for her. Her name in this is Polexia Aphrodisia, which is a crazy name. I don't know if they even say that. I mean, they probably say Polexia at some point.
They do say Polexia quite a bit, yeah.
No, Aphrodisia. I don't remember that part. So meets PSH. He gives him an assignment, and
I do want to say the reveal that Penny Lane's real name is Lady Goodman sounds more like a groupie stripper name than Penny Lane.
they're both not great.
No, but Penny Lane at least sounds like a real name. You know what's so weird? This is 100% true, and I could not make this up. Why would I make this up? I finished the movie this morning. My wife wanted to go to a park with a playground on it with our son that we've never been to, about 15 minutes down the road. Would you like to guess the name of the road that the random ass park that she wanted to go to today after we finish this movie?
Well, it's Penny Lane, and I would imagine the person who got to name it was a fan of this movie.
Oh, it was Penny Lane Drive. And yes,
Oh, that's fucking lame. You could have just been Penny Lane.
Penny Lane Drive. But how weird is that? It's very weird.
I don't think so. So his mom takes him to his first concert to do a Black Sabbath story. Security guard is such a dick just because he can be a dick, but he finally gets in with Stillwater.
I think he got locked out.
He did. He did.
Yeah.
Also, we could have done a pretty great month of fake bands. You got the band from That Thing You Do, the Oneaters.
Yeah.
You got this one.
Yeah.
Uh,
We could have done Euro Trip back when we were doing this with Matt Damon's fake band.
Then what's the movie where the guy has to fight the exes? Scott Pilgrim. The bomb.
That's a real band. That's a real band that lives. Bum 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 bum. Love bum bum.
It's
Bum, bum, bum.
Love Ba Bum Ba Bum. Yeah, there we go. I'm sure that's exciting listening to.
Love Babam.
So we've met Penny Lane. She's like, how old are you? And he says 18. She says, me too. 17, me too. 16, me too. And then he finally is like 15. I was like, not to say this in like a rude way, but Kate Hudson has never looked like young. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
not like
Hmm.
she looked like she was like 29 to 32 in this movie. Like beautiful. She was 21 and he was 18 when they filmed it. But they look 10 years apart.
Not only do they look 10 years apart, but he in fact does look 15.
Yes.
But Kate Hudson, all the credit in the world to her. But if you told me that she played 30, I'd believe you. If you told me she was 19, I'd also believe you.
Right. And then she was, I think the last thing I saw her in was the Knives Out 2 movie where she still looked the exact same.
I keep thinking, I think this is her in that Matthew McConaughey movie Gold Rush.
Yes.
She looks,
Is that called Gold Rush?
yeah.
I know which movie you're talking about.
Yeah. She looks
That's
exactly
the
the same.
that's the movie my wife always points to say that like sometimes the actors on the cover are different people to look like them, that it's not really them on the covers. She says that that's not Kate Hudson on that poster.
What they do a lot of times that they use a different body, but then superimpose the head.
Superhead. Got it. So I love like all of the beginning interactions with Stillwater where you have like Jason Lee, who's like, that guy's the enemy. You have Russell, who's like a little bit standoffish, but oh no, he's cool. And when he first tries to get in, he's like, "You're the enemy," and he's like, he goes to each band member and talks them up about like how cool each one is. They're like, "Well, don't stop there, man." Like they just like, because they're like a middling band trying to get bigger. They love to hear people talk how good they are.
I love the story, like the overarching, what I felt like was the overarching story in this movie where it's a bunch of bullshit. Like there's no
Yeah,
such thing as cool. Everyone's bullshit and everyone's faking it. And when Jason Lee was saying those quotes at the beginning, right? And then cut to the very end of the movie where he's reading the quotes and he's like, he has me saying the chicks are great. I sound like a
Uh,
douchebag.
he's like, "No, I sound like such a dick." And
Yeah.
then yeah, Russell's like, "I wouldn't say I'm a golden god." Oh wait, maybe I did.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
So he gets to go to LA. He tells his mom he's going to a dance, and Penny Lane takes him. And then this is where he finds out, Penny Lane has kind of tried to make it seem like they don't have a thing going. Then it's sort of he finds out they do, and then he sees them fucking through a door, and he's like heartbroken because he's like, this hot girl talked to me, and now that's over with.
You're 15, my dude. Well, one of the best parts in this movie is when they're in the cab to New York, or no, they're in the. I think they are in a cab, and the band members are like, "Hey, man, we showed you all around America. The only thing we didn't do was have you lose your virginity."
Yeah, get
And
you
then he
laid.
just gives this like little nod and look out the window, and everyone just gets it, and they're like, "Holy fuck!"
But even the people in the front who don't care about him, like Jimmy Fallon's character turns around and was like, "Oh, all right." Like he doesn't give a shit about this kid.
Jimmy Fallon was actually pretty good in this.
He was good. Yeah.
The 5 lines he had.
And he was also doing a good job of not making his character's funny, but it's not like goofy too funny. Like he was very good in it.
I was
What?
thinking when they're all about to die in the plane, his his monologue. I was like, that's why it's Jimmy Fallon.
Killed a guy in Dearborn, Michigan.
Yeah.
Apparently that story comes from a plane that Alice Cooper was on, and it's not clear who said it to who or if Alice Cooper was even involved. But as they think they're about to die, one of the guys is like, "I have to be honest, I've been sleeping with your wife." And then the plane, like immediately the captain's like, "All right, we're gonna be fine."
No, I mean that's the whole scene, right? Like they're at each other's necks. The one guy says, "I'm gay," and then the plane is fine.
That, yeah, probably not a joke you would make that way this day and age. Still very funny. So the next scene is the Rolling Stone call, which is a very funny scene where first of all he's like pretending to have like a deep voice, and he's like, the best we can do is $700, and there's like he's pausing because he's like so happy because that's so much money, and they're like, oh, he wants more. Okay, 1,000.
Yeah.
And then he's like, the mom pops on. He's like, oh, I know when my old lady wants me to hop to it. You get it. All right.
Everything with Frances McDormand is so good in the sense that without her at the end of the movie, I don't think I would have cried. But her seeing Zoe Deschanel after all those years at her doorstep and just hugging her, I cried. I was like, fuck. I was like, I did not think this movie was gonna get me, and it got me at the end.
By the way, all those years, it was 4 years. It made it feel like it was so much longer, but it was,
4 years is a long time to not see or hear from your daughter.
I get it, but I like the way the movie goes, like it feels like he's 10 in the beginning and he's like 16, 17 in like when it fast forward, but it is only 4 years. It is not that long. So then he's trying to get the interview with Russell, and like Jason Lee warns him not to. Then he's like fucking Penny. There's so many times where he's just fucking Penny instead of like doing the interview he's supposed to be doing.
Which you know what? Fuck Penny, because
Well, obviously,
she's
yeah.
like, oh, we're band-aids. We don't sleep with the band anymore. We're like beyond that. We're not like your normal
Well, maybe it's
groupies.
just the BJs.
Then all they do is just sleep with the band.
She fell in love with Russell, which she's not supposed to do. She became the other woman, the mistress that thinks, oh, he's going to leave her for me.
Okay,
Which
fine. But have
it
you
turns out
seen him?
Russell's girlfriend is also just like fucking around too. Like it's like
That's his wife.
whatever. Either way, she's fucking other people too, and she's like a part of the scene. You kind of imagine that character as like the character in Walk the Line or Walk Hard, the version you saw, where it's like she's separated from that world and she's at home, but she's fucked the other band members in this, and like I mean, like she's a part of the
You kind
world
of get a
too.
sense that she fucked Jason Lee the second that they like saw each other getting out of the
We're on a
cab.
break.
What?
We're on a break. She went like, because she said that's the summer of no rules. So she's like, they had a conversation where like, oh, summer of no rules, and she immediately like, I'm gonna go fuck Jason Lee.
Well, look, I get Russell's anger about that, because there's a difference between, look, you're fucking around with a bunch of groupies, she's fucking around with a bunch of guys you don't know. Maybe that's fine. But then your bandmate, like your bro, like come on.
Well, they all fucked the manager's ex-wife. He's like the
Oh,
one.
is that who that was?
Yeah, they're like, I fucked Mara and I fucked her too. I at least waited until you guys were separated.
Well, I do want to say, like, one of the cool moments of this movie is where they're all around the table. Russell's wife is there. Penny Lane keeps staring over at the table to the fact that his wife is like, who the fuck is that? Why does she keep looking over here? Is she with any of you? And every single one of them, including William, said, she's with me. And that tips her off on like, oh, that's the chick that my husband's fucking.
It's also a cool little moment too, where as Penny Lane gets escorted off and then runs away, Russell sort of looks at William and William looks at Russell, and it's almost like a tacit like, go help her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Except I read it that way, but then they're like, where were you? So I don't know. So
I think they were just kind of being assholes. The where were you thing, Bob Dylan, that part, that happened, I think, later, didn't it?
yeah, they're like, where were you after you ran off with her?
Yeah, I think they were just being assholes.
Well, Jason Lee probably did not know what was going on, and I don't know if Russell was still playing. It doesn't really matter. Because his wife was sitting there. So the first time he finally gets to interview him, Russell comes out with this like, I'm better than the rest of this band. I could be more successful, but they're all making so much money. That's like a lot of pressure on me. And he's also like, hey, we have wives and girlfriends back home, so please you don't need to report everything that goes on here. I want to talk about the electrocution scene next, because there is a cameo here of Mark Maron playing a very typical Mark Maron character of someone who just like yells at people, is a curmudgeon, even though he's so much younger in this. And I don't know, have you ever listened to? Did you ever listen to the What the Fuck podcast?
No.
So when he starts the pod, and I haven't seen this movie in forever, he's like, "All right, let's get the pod going," and it's just him screaming, "Lock the gates," as like the runner to start his pod. And I was like, "Oh shit!" Like that's kind of cool that like he gets to use that and that like he uses that for this.
That is pretty cool. No, the only podcast that I listen to is I Finally Watched every Monday morning at 1 a.m. Eastern Time.
Okay, so next I want to talk about the T-shirt scene, which, by the way, also doesn't Penny Lane a little bit remind you of Susan Sarandon from Bull Durham, where she's like, "Oh, he's my project. I think he could be really great."
She reminds me a little bit of that and a little bit of Heather Graham.
In
Not
what?
from any particular movie, just Heather
Just
Graham.
you just the way you want Heather Graham to treat you.
Well, of course, but also maybe like from Boogie Nights.
Well, okay, yeah, that makes sense too. Sex is
Yeah.
involved. So the T-shirt scene is very funny, and he's like, "I know you want to get into it," and then he's like, Jason Lee with, I work the hardest out of all of us. You know, I try and make sure every guy gets off. And if I see a guy that's not getting off, I make sure that that guy gets off." And then he turns to him, "And you can fucking print that."
Actually, that's your quote. My favorite quote from that scene is he goes, "Oh, I'm angry. You probably can't tell that I'm angry because I'm one of the guys out of focus."
But also, and this is a quote that I've heard a ton. Your looks have your looks have become a problem.
Yeah, yeah.
Cut to the Topeka party, which I think is like the scene you think about from this movie. He goes to this house party, drinks the beer with acid, and then you have a pretty good like smash cut for a joke. How do I
Yeah.
know if it's kicked in to "I am a golden god," which
On
is
the roof.
apparently
Yeah.
a Robert Plant quote of Led Zeppelin when he was completely sober, like screaming off a balcony in I think Vegas or LA. So, and then he's like, "Those can't be your last words." My last, because he says, "I'm on drugs." He tries to say something else. So you have that scene. He's like, "That's it. The band's over."
His last words. So he goes, "I'm on drugs." He goes, "We got to work on your last words." And he goes, "Okay. I dig music," and everyone is like,
Eh.
better than "I'm on drugs." And then he still says "I'm on drugs" before jumping in the pool.
So he gets taken out of the house after he said the band's over. He's mopey. He's in a towel, and then we get the Tiny Dancer scene. I am curious what percentage this movie gets credit for, like how popular that song still is, because obviously it's like one of the greatest songs ever. But I remember that scene being a huge deal when this movie came out.
Okay.
So I don't know. It's just interesting because it's obviously a hugely popular song.
The juxtaposition where he is in a towel and he gets on the bus.
You got to stop trying. You got to stop trying to say that fucking word.
Juxtaposition.
Oh, you did it right this time. All right, good.
That's how I always say it.
You for last episode, you tried to say it twice and you just gave up and said a different word. And this time, maybe my hearing's bad, but it sounded like you said justice position.
No, your hearing's bad. I would never.
Okay.
Also, that position, when he shows up on the bus in the towel, and then it cuts to the opposite shot of everyone is like properly dressed sitting.
Just staring at
They
him.
have never looked more professional in their lives.
Well, and
compared
also
to him.
this like the blocking of like where everyone is sitting, they're all
Yeah.
spread out perfectly.
Yeah.
It's very good. So this scene in the bus, you think like, oh, everything's gonna be all right. Like they figured it out. They're gonna be a band, and it's like the exact half point of the movie, which they eventually do end up getting back to the point of like, oh, at the end of the movie, you think everything's gonna be all right. Russell's sort of had like almost like a midlife crisis with the band, and then he realizes like, no, this is where I want to be. We next get the deflowering Opie scene, which is problematic to say the least in 2026, and so we should probably
Let's talk about it. So he is in the bathtub trying to put all of his notes together. Kate
Right.
Hudson comes in, starts peeing. I love the line where he goes, "Hey, look, I thought we were going to do this differently. where we're gonna hang out and get to know each other, and then I'll see you pee.
Yeah.
To then the girls getting cahoots with each other and being like, "Hey, we're gonna take this dude's V card," pulls him into the bedroom. I don't know if you noticed, but as they were circling him, every time they would get more and more naked.
It's almost like a witch's like ritual. You know what I mean? Like circling around.
It's funny because I'm pretty sure two of those actresses, definitely Anna Paquin, was in a movie or a show. I think I might be thinking of True Blood, where they are like a sexy witch.
You know, so the other one you're thinking of is The Craft with Feruza. Is she in? She's in the sex scene. Yeah,
Yeah.
she's great in this. I love the one note is she does the thing where she's running after the bus and telling him about his mom calling. You can totally tell she is waiting for that wall to come to like hit it so she doesn't hurt herself.
Oh, really? It was
Yeah, and
unexpected for me.
it was yeah. When you first watch it, it is, but when you watch it back, you're like she's waiting for it, and then as she hits it, she like sort of like does it in a way to not hurt herself.
I love the phone call with her and Frances McDormand being like,
Yeah, I'm the
well,
maid,
they
by the
they
way.
always say it, right? Whenever they get on the phone with her, they're like, "You have a good person, like a good kid here.
Yeah.
You shouldn't worry about him. He's a good kid." I love that every time he goes to a different hotel, they're like, "You have an urgent phone call," and it's his mom like leaving a message of just like, "Don't do drugs."
Yeah, Eric Stone Street was like, "Your mom really freaked me out." The phone call between the mom, Frances McDormand, and Russell is very funny because he goes on there like very cocky, and she just destroys him. And he's about to go on stage,
Destroy him.
and he's like, "Your mom really freaked me out." He's like, "Yeah, she means well."
I love that. That leading up to the ending of this movie where, oh my god, I called it too. I was watching it and he's like, "Give me your address," and she's like, "Okay, here." As he's getting out of the cab, I tell Taylor, I'm like, "She gave him the address to William's house." And then it pans to William's house and I was like, "I'm fucking good."
So we meet Fallon. He's going to be a better manager for them, more tour dates. And then right after this, we get the scene where they're playing poker, but they're just trading Penny Lane for beer and $50.
So a cool fact about the poker scene is that they're trading groupies, right? And he's with other like managers of other bands. So like for example, Reg is the manager for Humble Pie,
Yeah.
but he's being played by Peter Frampton from Humble Pie.
You know, at one point they said Peter Frampton was in the movie, and I did not recognize him. But okay, that makes sense. I also didn't know Peter Frampton was in a band named Humble Pie either. But that just
Well,
shows
Peter
my
Frampton
age.
has a probably a better solo career.
Correct. Yes, I know of Peter Frampton. I just didn't know he was in Humble Pie. You know, Eric Clapton was in Cream.
That's good. Did I ever tell you I
So
met Eric Clapton? Ever tell you I like had a personal run-in with Eric Clapton?
no, how'd that go?
I was 6 years old. We were in Blowing Rock, North Carolina. It was a hotel, and I was in the lobby. My parents were checking in. It was late at night because we drove, and I was dancing. I was like 5, 6 years old. I was spinning in circles, dancing in the middle of the lobby. I barely remember this. My mom tells me the story. So I'm spinning circles in the middle of the lobby. Someone walks into the lobby, and I'm spinning circles, and I run into them. And my mom goes over and she's like, "I'm so sorry." And it was Eric Clapton. And Eric Clapton was like, "Oh my God, it's okay. It's fine." And like pats me on the head and yeah, and walks away.
He probably
And
has
my
a.
mom was like, "Do you know who that was?" And I was like, "No." And it was Eric Clapton.
Oh, was it Eric Clapton? Because you hadn't said that part already. He probably also has like a soft spot for children. So
Well, I think it was like very close to when his son died.
yeah, that's yeah. So we're in New York. We already talked about the beginning of that, and then my wife was like, "Don't you like feel like she's kind of pathetic in that scene where she's like standing next to the table, staring at the wife and Russell and all that?" She's like, that scene makes me cringe because she's being so weird.
It's pretty bad.
So then she runs away. She somehow gets to the hotel so much faster than William so that she can OD.
Although, can you OD on Quaaludes? Because Wolf of Wall Street taught me that you can take as many as you want and be perfectly fine.
Well, I think, yeah, you can, first of all. So the movie makes a really big point of him looking in the cabs, and he stares at this guy in the cab. And I was like,
Okay,
well,
good. You have an answer to this?
that has to be someone. At first, I thought it was like, oh, maybe it's Cameron Crowe. It is not. It is Jan Wenner, who is the founder of Rolling Stone magazine.
That's pretty cool.
But it was like, no one's gonna know who that guy is. Like, you need to explain who that is. Like, so he goes back, finds her, dances with her. Then he commits a little sexual assault because she can't willingly kiss him. But that's whatever. He saves her life by calling a doctor.
He's like, I'm gonna go where actually
Eh,
a lot
a
of men
lot
have
of
gone before.
it's pretty fucked up. Boldly go where many men have gone before. Then he finds out her real name. Then we get the plane crash scene, which is also like, it's interesting. That Golden God scene, I always think is like way later in the movie and right before this plane scene, but that is like halfway point, and there's like 30 minutes in between the two scenes.
Yeah.
And because this is the other iconic scene where, like, as we already went over it, but Jimmy Fallon's very funny, all the other stuff too. I'm gay. And then the pilot's like, we're going to make it.
Shuts the door. He slams the door in the pilot's face. And I'm sure the pilot's like, why are they so pissed? Like, we're gonna live.
Yeah, we just saved their lives.
I do want to back up a little bit back to the hotel scene. After he calls the doctor and they are pumping her stomach, which the plaza back in the 70s had to have a lot of these calls to already like be prepared to pump someone's stomach, right?
Yeah, that guy was ready and knew how to do it.
But it kept cutting to her feet, like spazzing out, and then cutting back to William like smiling. I was trying to understand where this was like going, like what emotion I the director wanted us to feel. And I'll just say how I feel. Like there was some affirmation with William in this moment. Like I just saved her life, but also this is it. This is the end. I got to go home after this. Like this is like the realization that this is the end of his journey.
It's so funny too, like how many cities he went to after he was supposed to leave in Greenville.
Right, right.
So he then has to write the article that night in PSH, the last call with Philip Seymour Hoffman, where he's like, "You're so uncool," and he's like, "If they want to make you their friend because that will help them, but if you want to be a true friend, you got to be truthful and unmerciful."
I think that is true in the sense that Stillwater needs that wake up call.
They need that wake up call, but also like that, Jason Lee's like, this makes me look like a dick. Why can't someone just make me look cool? It's like that magazine is going to help your career just as much as like an article where
You're
he's
on
like,
the cover of the fucking Rolling Stones. He says, earlier on in the movie, he goes, the Rolling Stones being on the cover would be cool, but not the interview. So, which prompted me to look up how many people have just been on the cover of Rolling Stones and did not have to do an interview. The obvious ones, and the first one is John Lennon, and then a bunch of fucking people. Because apparently, if you get into like a tiff with the Rolling Stones, they know that if you're famous enough, they would just put you on the cover to sell more magazines, and they would forego the interview. And I was
funny.
like, but if John Lennon was the first one, and they're talking about this is like 1978, I'm sure it hasn't been done at that point yet, right? Because John Lennon is probably still not soloed with Yoko yet,
Yoko
his
Ono.
wife yet, right?
Yeah.
So maybe they were like, oh, it hasn't happened before, so wouldn't it be cool? It has. It's actually quite easy, I guess. Philip Seymour Hoffman says he's uncool. I thought one of the coolest scenes, like the tie-in character arc for William, was the Central Park scene where he's talking. This is where he finds out her real name is Lady. But I was like, what a stud, dude. I was like, he is Like he's mature now almost.
Well, he has lived a life that most other 15-year-olds have not. So
But also all of the other like late 20 and 30-year-olds that he was on tour with act like children to the point where he acts more adult than any of them.
so writes the article. The band hears about it. This I find this interesting because this movie is almost over. It's got like 20 minutes left when he's like the fact checker comes in. She's like, "Yeah, Russell denied it. I told you guys he's just some fan." I was like, "You are such a bitch, lady." Like just
But okay, so I'm watching the scene with Taylor, and she makes a good point. She says that if you don't care about becoming, on the cover of Rolling Stone, and someone writes an article outside of your favor, why is Rolling Stone in this situation acting like this is the first time that a band has denied a journalist?
I think it was less common back then. Like
Also, he has most of it recorded.
a lot of notes. He didn't record. The movie makes a point of it's kind of subtle of like him not being able to record a lot of times.
I thought he recorded that whole thing on the plane.
I don't think so. But
Oh,
anyway, doesn't like with 20 minutes left, he's like, "Oh, yeah, they said they denied everything." And then 7 minutes left, he's like, "I called Rolling Stone and I told them every word of it was true."
yeah, but that had to have been like weeks later.
Not really, because they still put the article out like that time and he was still in bed, so they made it seem like it was a few days. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. My point is, with 20 minutes left in the movie, to have this like zig and zag when the movie's almost like you feel like it's kind of ending, right? He writes his article. That's sort of the end of the movie, and they do this one last like kind of big plot point. I
Yeah.
found like I find it like an odd decision that works like well in the movie.
I like that the movie was going to end with him not getting it done. I didn't want it to kill his dream. Like I still wanted him to go and pursue a career in journalism, but it was that kind of bittersweet ending that I was like okay with. Them ending it where he actually ended up calling Rolling Stone and confirming everything almost made everything like end too perfectly for the kind of movie it is, in my opinion.
Not. I don't really think so. I mean, because one, it's sort of autobiographical, so he's writing what he kind of knows. I also think it's like the movie could have ended, I guess, in a way where it's like, oh, the band breaks up and they don't let him write this article or whatever. But I think it's also the growth of Russell. He's sort of on this roller coaster throughout the movie where he's like, he's a dick. He doesn't want to talk to him. He is a nice guy. He's more open to him. So I don't know. I think the last zig and zag is a little bit weird, but I like overall where the movie ends at.
The zigzag did save Russell's character for me. And what I mean by that is that when he calls up Penny Lane begging to be with her, I don't like Russell. When she gives him the wrong address and he shows up at William's house, that's her pushing him to do the right thing, not on his own accord, but she tricks him to doing the right thing. I still don't like Russell at this point, although I do think him being so confused about whose house he is and Francis McDormand knowing exactly who this fucking guy is hilarious. I love it. Um, but the save for me is that when he says he already called Rolling Stone and helped him out, I was like, okay, well, I guess he ended up being a good guy on his own accord.
Yeah, but it also makes the. I agree. I like the fact that he already called, but it also makes him going there almost kind of worthless.
Well, that too.
So either way,
But the only
but
catharsis, here I go again. The only comforting thing about it is his interaction, not with William, but with William's mom.
that was truly cathartic. So
God damn.
originally, the roles of Russell Hammond and Penny Lane were written for Brad Pitt and Sarah Polley. Polly dropped out to work on her own project. The Law of Enclosures, which I've never heard of, so probably not the best choice. Although she did say I watched the movie after it came out and realized like Kate Hudson was perfect for that, and so it's great that I wasn't in it. And then according to Brad Pitt, he didn't get the movie enough to want to do it. Like he just didn't understand it.
Sure.
I think two pretty good choices for Lester Bangs if PSH doesn't do it are Jon Favreau and Jack Black. Jack Black, I think, the better choice.
Hmm.
I think, but they're also maybe a little too young at this point for that role.
No,
But
no. Philip Seymour Hoffman is so perfect
he
because like
is, yeah.
whatever he couldn't bring to the role in Jack Black was like making up for it. It's like, yeah, Jack Black's probably funnier, but there's just some like rawness to Philip Seymour Hoffman's performance. Okay, give me the very long list of Penny Lane.
Well, first of all, let me knock out some other ones first. Scarlett Johansson auditioned for a role that was later cut. Elijah Wood screen tested for the role of William. I like who we got for this. I don't think I wouldn't have wanted anyone else. I think he's perfect.
I did want to mention that the little kid casting, like when he was
Yeah.
11,
10, 11, yeah.
right? And then to when he's 15, I thought that was great casting.
Yeah. So hope strap in. So Uma Thurman turned down the role of Penny Lane. Kirsten Dunst auditioned and almost got it. By the way, Will Forte auditioned for the part of Dennis Hope, but Jimmy Fallon won it. Christina Ricci auditioned for Penny Lane, came close. Cameron Crowe wanted Julie Bowen for Penny, which would have been interesting.
Who's
Claire
Julie Bowen?
Julie Bowen, she is from Happy Gilmore, the blonde lady. She's the wife from Modern Family.
Oh, so we could have seen her tits instead.
Do we see Kate Hudson nude in this?
Yeah.
Do we?
Yeah.
What scene?
They're in the hotel room. It's when they first get to the riot.
I completely missed that.
She's wearing like this long fur coat and she just opens it right up. She's wearing nothing underneath the long fur coat.
Must have been a quick
It was very
Anyway,
quick, but you get it.
You were studying intently.
It's like one of those like where the VHS disrupts because of how many times you pause it.
Yeah. Claire Danes was a top contender. Alicia Silverstone lobbied for the role. Toni Collette apparently turned it down. Maya Rudolph was considered. So here are
Maya Rudolph.
Yeah, that's an interesting one to me. I didn't even know she was like famous back then.
Although Toni Collette and Frances McDormand in the same movie.
So the following people were considered for it: Christina Applegate, Selma Blair, Saffron Burrows, who you've only ever seen in Deep Blue Sea, Jennifer Connelly, Penelope Cruz, Cameron Diaz, Eliza Dushku, Jenny Garth, Natasha Hendricks, Mila Jovovich, Thandie Newton, Gwyneth Paltrow, Franca Potent, Laura Prepon, Winona Ryder, Tori Spelling, Liv Tyler, Rachel Weisz. Peta Wilson is not a name.
Liv Tyler would have been an interesting one because of who her father is.
Well, no, I think Liv Tyler is actually a pretty good comp for this. And then Catherine Zeta-Jones. And then these are people who apparently auditioned for the role. I'm not done. Brittany Murphy, Mina Savari, Anne Heche, Neve Campbell. That would have been interesting. Jenna Elfman, Bridget Moynihan, Maggie Gyllenhaal, Rose McGowan. I think Rose McGowan probably would have been good. Chloe Savini, Laura Flynn Boyle, Allison Hannigan, Angie Harmon, Katherine Heigl, Natalie Portman. That would have been good for me. Rebecca Romaine, and then
you have to also question like this was Kate Hudson's big breakout role, wasn't it?
I believe so.
She's probably like more like, oh, you're gonna show up nude in this scene. She's like, okay, yeah. The other ones that have like a more of a career at this point probably would have turned down the nude scene.
Yeah, and obviously that's of vital importance to you.
I thought that's all we were talking about.
So apparently Kate Hudson's first role was choir singer in Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. I had to go back and watch that, see if I can see her in it. And then she was in 200 Cigarettes, Dr. T and the Women. Yeah, so this was her breakout role, and she was nominated for it. Overall, I mean, I had seen it before, and it's obviously a fantastic movie. Eventually, I'm gonna make you do Aloha eventually. So strap in, get ready.
I love this movie. I was surprised how much I liked it, and like I mentioned before, it did get me tearing up at the end when he was in front of the Rolling Stone writers, like the editors for the Rolling Stone, and he was trying to get the thing, like convince them enough, like this is real. I give me tonight to put this together, and they were like, "This is amazing!" Like all for it. I was like tearing up because I was like, I wanted him to succeed. I wanted him to do it, and I was crushed when they just were like, "Yeah, the band said it didn't happen, so I guess it didn't happen." I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And then when he gets his sister Zoe Deschanel and goes back home, I was like, this movie has heart. It got me. It got me good. And yeah, no, I love it. I thought it was really good.
Apparently, Cameron Crowe has the untitled Joni Mitchell biopic coming out. That's his next thing, which he hasn't done something since Aloha tanked his career for over a decade. Well, thanks for listening to another episode of I Finally Watched. This is David.
And this is Alon, and I finally watched Almost Famous. I also like how it's called Almost Famous because they're on the Almost Famous tour, and then when you see them again after some time has gone, they're on the No More Airplanes tour. Awesome.
I finally.
Watched.
I finally.
Watched. I
Finally,
watched. I
finally,
watched.
I finally.
Watched.